Okay, seeing no opposition to the measure. Okay, we're now going to open up to any questions from any of the members. Senator Leno.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I think it's fairly obvious from the public testimony we've just heard that the scope of what we're doing here today cannot be overstated. This is an enormously joyful day, and everyone seated before us should be recognized and applauded. I want to thank our co-chairs of the committee today for your leadership, the consumers, the providers, the advocates, certainly Department of Developmental Services, Department of Finance, the governor, and all those who have been so patient with us. And I know it's not done till it's done, but we're getting, inching very close to the final vote. So I'm just so very pleased that we'll be able to correct a major shortfall of our actions here in the legislature for so many years. I did want to just get a clarity on what's agreed upon, and because as I understand it, what we'll be voting on here today, and then what will subsequently be on the floor is the statutory language that the appropriations themselves will be finalized through the budget process.
The bill actually includes appropriation for the funds that will be flowing through the Department of Developmental Services. So the bulk of it will be an appropriation in the bill.
Great.
Those pieces that are actually flowing through the Department of Healthcare Services will be handled during the normal budget process.
Okay, thank you for that clarification. And I think my number is fairly accurate. Around $49 million was in the governor's budget for a number of related expenditures.
That's correct. It was almost $50 million for components related to the home and community-based services, an alternative rate model, four-bed rate, and
I think that those were the three main pieces.
oh yes, and case managers at the regional center. So that's still part of the proposed governor's budget.
And that is still to be negotiated through the budget process.
Correct. That will be addressed during the normal budget.
I just wanted to suggest, and I hope that we're on the same page with the Department of Finance, that as with anything proposed in the governor's January budget, that $50 million will be considered. And I'd like to see that through a stakeholder process, that those dollars are spent as much to the desires and liking of the stakeholders as possible. I want to know that those are their top priorities as opposed to just ours or the governor's. And I would take it, since it's a proposal, it's just that at this point. Terrific. And then I also want to recognize the enormous accomplishment with regard to the distinct part nursing facilities. This forgiveness of a retroactive reduction that goes back many, many years will benefit not only many of these facilities, as mentioned, in the rural areas of the state, which is reason enough to support it, but also there are a number of Jewish homes, one of them in my district, which has been struggling mightily as a result of those cuts and the expectation that they were to pay that back. So with this forgiveness, it will go a long, long way to sustain the operations of facilities that serve our most frail, vulnerable, and elderly Californians. So altogether, I will quiet down now so I don't blabber on about how really extraordinary this accomplishment is. Thank you all very much.
Thank you. Senator Mitchell, I believe, had a question, comment?
First of all, what a difference 8 months makes. I'm thrilled to be here today to have the opportunity to support this proposal. One quick question. MCO piece of this has a 3-year life, as we're looking at it today, as I understand from conversation with the director. Given the fact that, as I understand it, the funding process will be monies will be put into the general fund and the DD support will come from the general fund, does the DD commitment today also sunset in 3 years? Will we be back to the drawing board, or is this a commitment from the administration that this level of funding at the DD level is indefinite?
Sure. So the bill has no sunset dates for the statutory provisions, changing the rates and having the funding allocations. We are, as we put this into our budget system, building this in as ongoing.
Thank you very much.
Any other questions? Lots of hands going up. Any other questions from any of the members?
Ed, I forgot just, thank you.
Okay, Senator Leno had one more comment.
Thank you. I just wanted, in my gushing of thanks, to also recognize the California Association of Health Plans, because without their participation, we would not be here today. So it's been a real collaborative effort. My thanks to them as well.
Before we actually take action on the bill, I'd like to make a comment. I also like to take this opportunity to thank all those who participated in the negotiation process. Started, you know, as Senator Mitchell said, about 8 months, almost a year ago. It was a long process. Again, I'd like to thank the California Association of Health Plans for all the work that they've done, many hours we spent in the Pro Tem's office, on the phone, et cetera. I'd also like to thank the administration. The administration has done an incredible job to address the issues with regard to developmentally disabled. As we all know, it's been a priority for both caucuses, Democrat and Republican as well. Secretary Dooley has been an incredible partner to work with. Jennifer Kent has gone above and beyond. She has done a magnificent job, so I'd like to thank all those who have participated, but more importantly, this is going to bring revenue into the state of California much needed. And just as importantly is we're going to be able to bring revenue to the DD community, which is very, very much needed. So with that, I believe we have an action. We're going to be dealing with SB Special Session 2. Yeah. Oh, I'm sorry, I didn't see the, yes.
Mr. Chairman, if I too may preface, and I will acknowledge, and I want to acknowledge, as I did briefly a minute ago, that the years of work literally that have gone into this and the challenges. I want to acknowledge that in terms of this particular measure, we cannot be yes vote on it today. And it goes to the point that the concerns are that we've offered other sources of revenue. We believe that there still are other sources of revenue available yet ahead, even now. And we would opt that is a better pathway ahead. I would commend everybody for the good faith efforts that they've put into this, and I know that the plans have negotiated as best they could with the administration. I know the governor has had good intents. We just cannot get there today with this particular proposal. Again, we have made our own proposals. We have noticed that tremendous amounts of revenues that have been available, could have been available, and got spent elsewhere, could have gone for these purposes. That didn't happen, and we're where we're at today. But we still believe that the revenues are yet ahead, and that's where we would suggest that the monies for this particular purpose be placed. So we cannot get to yes today.
Assemblymember Gallagher.
Yeah, just really quick, I do want to say thank you to all the stakeholders for coming together. As was said, I think by Senator Mitchell, wish this could have happened last year, you know, to make this happen for the developmental disability community, and also pointing out that this is a big win for our skilled nursing facilities who have really been struggling, you know, in my district, Calusa Medical Center, Orchard Hospital. These are areas that not only people who absolutely need these facilities and would either have to either move or not have access to these facilities, but also in these rural areas, without this funding, some of these hospitals may just go away completely, and in which case a lot of these rural folks would not have access to acute care. So that's I think this is a big win to get that done. Again, I wish we could have done that last year. I think we had the ability to get it done last year, but it is a victory today to be able to get this passed through and hopefully on in not a done deal yet, but hopefully we can get there. With the MCOs part, I know that's not really the subject of this specific hearing, but can you maybe explain the difference between what the proposal was from last year and now this, the new proposal, just for the enlightenment of this hearing?
I can take a crack at that. Jennifer Kent, Department of Healthcare Services. So when the governor released his budget last January and we had a model that was proposed, it raised about the same amount of money in terms of the net. It lacked a couple of things that you have before you today. There were no tax policy changes, so those have been obviously new additions to the model. And the impact to the non-Medi-Cal side of the industry was around $600 million, and today it's approximately $265 million. So in the changing of the model and in the tiering of the tax structure, coupled with the tax policy changes that we have proposed, we have dramatically shifted the impact to the commercial industry, which was, in many cases, us listening quite closely to the business, and affordability arguments that were being made, which is this will disproportionately impact businesses, small purchasers. And so we have really tiered and structured this tax in a way that has, in large part, addressed a lot of those concerns, which is why the plans are in support of this proposal.
Any other comments, questions from any of the members? Okay, at this time, we are going to take an action on SBX2, secondary session SB2. This is the funding mechanism, the MCO portion. I am going to need a motion. Is there a motion? So moved by Senator Leno, second by Assemblymember Bonilla. This is the action taken on SB2, recommended adoption of the conference committee report. Call the members, please.
Hernandez?
Aye.
Hernandez, aye. Anderson? No. Anderson, no. Leno? Aye. Leno, aye. Mitchell? Aye. Mitchell, aye. Nielsen? Nielsen, no. Bonta? Gallagher? Gallagher, no. Patterson? Santiago? Aye. Santiago, aye.
That currently has 4-3. We're going to place that bill on call. We have a member in the hall.
Bonilla?
Aye.
Bonilla, aye.
Can you, hold on. Can we reopen the roll?
Bonta?
Aye.
Bonta, aye. Patterson?
Currently is 6-3. That's enough to get the bill out. What I'd ask. Assemblymember Patterson asked to vote on the bill, so we'll put the bill in call. Okay, we're going to now move on to action, the second action item. This is the ABX secondary extraordinary session, item number 1. Turn it over to you.
Okay. We have a motion and a second. Please call the roll.
Bonta?
Aye.
Bonta, aye. Bonilla? Bonilla, aye. Gallagher? Gallagher, aye. Patterson? Santiago? Aye. Santiago, aye. Hernandez? Aye. Hernandez, aye. Anderson? Aye. Anderson, aye. Leno? Aye. Leno, aye. Mitchell? Aye. Mitchell, aye. Nielsen? Aye. Nielsen, aye. Yeah,
Was it?
it's 9-0 total, but we have enough votes on both sides for it to pass.
The current vote is 9-0. That bill passes. We will also keep the roll open for add-ons.
I need to ask the members that they need to stay because we need to have them sign the conference committee report. But if we can ask the assembly member's office to come in, we'll give him 3 minutes. Otherwise, we're going to close the roll down. What's that? You can't close it down? Okay, can we have order, please? Can we have order, please? We're going to go ahead and open the roll. We're going to first open the roll for SBX2, second extraordinary session. Call the absent member.
Patterson? Patterson? No. Patterson, no.
What's the final vote count?
6-4.
That final vote count is 6-4. That's the MCO. It's the MCO.
You're good on this.
That's SB2.
Now you need to sign.
And you're a no, is that correct? Okay.
No, wait, you're a senator. Over here, the top. Yes. 8 to 6. And then you can sign this one.
This is the MCO. No. You are recorded as a no in the MCO. Okay, the vote count is 6-4.
There we go.
That has enough votes to get out. That will move to the floor. We're now going to open up the second item, the AB, and I'll turn it over to Chairman Bonta.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. We're going to reopen the roll on ABX21. Madam Secretary, please call the roll for any add-ons.
Patterson? Patterson, aye. It's 10-0.
The final vote count on ABX21 is 10-0. And of course, that bill passes.
I guess one more. I can't read these ones.
Okay, I'd like to ask all the members who are here that they need to sign each document, whether it's an aye vote or a no vote, and they have to sign it 3 times for each one of the bills. That's the SB2 and the AB1. And then once you sign it, then we will close down the conference committee.
Signing?
Yeah.
Oh.
And it's right below.
Wow.
Sergeants, can we have Senator Anderson come back? He didn't sign one of the documents. I won't close it. I won't shut this down until he comes back. We have the attention, please. That concludes the business of the day. Both bills will go to the floors, prospective houses, and we'll put a vote up on Thursday. Thank you very much, and we're adjourned.